These Eggs Benedict breakfast bombs are just 1 net carb for 2 bombs. They freeze really well, so when I make them, I triple this recipe, which is for 2 servings. Over a high heat, melt a half tablespoon of butter. Finely dice 4 ounces or 113 grams of smoked salmon, and then add half of that to the pan. Do set aside the other half, which we will use later. Saute that until it's nice and crispy, and then set that aside. Mash up 2 boiled eggs that have been peeled and cooled until quite fine, and then add to a medium-sized bowl. Add the raw salmon that we didn't cook, 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh chives, 2.5 tablespoons of hollandaise sauce. The link to that recipe should appear in the top right of your screen now. Just adding a pinch each of salt and pepper and mix that together to form a thick paste. Separate the mixture into 4 and roll each section into a ball. Coat each ball with the cooked salmon this time, and then coat it in some shredded cheese, and I'm using cheddar. Oh, that looks so pretty. When you're done, add them to an oven-proof dish and bake this for 10 minutes. If you want to refrigerate or freeze them, do let them cool first. But honestly, I have to make a lot if I want to freeze them because they disappear quickly. You can have so much fun with this recipe using what you have in your refrigerator. In the other one, I swapped out the hollandaise sauce for mayonnaise, and you can use sour cream as well. For the meat, I used ground beef instead of salmon and wrapped that in bacon bits. Everyone who has tried this recipe raves about how delicious it is, so I hope you get to try it. To make 2 servings, clean 6 prawns like the one I have on the right. You might like to keep the tail on an extra one if you wish to decorate a bowl. Over a medium heat, melt 40 grams of butter and add a half teaspoon of garlic powder, then combine. Add the prawns and coat them in the butter. You will need to coat them several times while frying. When they have slight browning, turn them over and coat them in the garlic butter again. When both sides have browning, turn off the heat, remove the prawns and let them drain on a paper towel. Next, we will make a super easy and delicious seafood sauce. In a little bowl, add 1 tablespoon of tomato cooking sauce, 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise, a couple of drops of Tabasco and the same amount of Worcestershire sauce, then mix to combine. Now we are just going to put it all together, and I'm going to show you 3 pretty ways to assemble your prawn cocktail. The first way is using half an avocado. Yes, somehow I managed to find the world's smallest avocado. But anyway, scoop out some of the flesh to create a cavity for the rest of the ingredients. I added 10 grams of shredded lettuce, and optionally you can add the remaining avo on top of the lettuce. I just didn't have space. Then add 3 garlic prawns, a couple of teaspoons of seafood sauce, and garnish with chopped chives. If you just want to make it using a bowl, you sure can. Same as before, add shredded lettuce first, sliced avocado, then 3 garlic prawns, the seafood sauce, about 2 teaspoons, and top it off with chopped chives. And ta-da! I'm hanging a prawn with the tail off the side of the bowl. The third and my favorite way is using a lettuce leaf, and this way feels like you're eating tapas, and of course there's less wash up. Right on top the lettuce leaf, add sliced avocado, 3 garlic prawns, 2 teaspoons of seafood sauce, and garnish with chopped chives. I've just got to eat this right now. In this recipe, I used hemp hearts as a rice substitute. You gotta try it, it tastes really good. Over a medium heat, melt 3 tablespoons of butter, then add 2 tablespoons of chopped scallion or green onion, 2 tablespoons of diced red bell pepper or capsicum, and saute until softened and then remove from the pan. Next to the pan, you want to add 12 grams of sliced almonds and 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder and saute that for about 30 seconds to 1 minute. We are just flavoring and toasting the almonds, and remove that from the pan as well. Again, to the pan, add 1 cup of hemp hearts or hemp seeds and saute that and allow the remaining oil to soak up. Then add 1/4 cup of chicken broth while stirring, and then add another 1/4 of a cup of the chicken broth. After 2 minutes of stirring and sauteing, you will see it's cooked. It should be soft and springy like rice. Do give it a taste to see if you need any seasoning, and then add the flavored nuts and the veggies back into the pan and mix to combine, and now turn off the heat. Add the pilaf to your serving plate and serve with any protein of your choice, and I'm serving mine with a side of steak. I'm using Scotch steak for this recipe, but you can use the steak of your choice. I finely sliced the beef, then added it to a bowl. For the seasonings, add a tablespoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of ginger powder, and a 1/4 cup of coconut aminos. Mix that all together until it's combined. Then cover it and let it sit in the fridge for at least an hour. And you can do this the night before, but this recipe is also designed to be really quick and easy. When you're ready, over a high heat, melt the coconut oil, add the beef, and let it cook for about 5 minutes depending on how you like your steak, but also don't let the sauce dry out. And to serve it, add a cup of lettuce leaves to your plate and 79 grams of the Mongolian beef, and lastly a sprinkle of sliced shallots or spring onion and a little bit of sesame seeds. First, we're going to decase 200 grams worth of sausages, and that is remove the casings. Then cut the sausage meat into bite-sized pieces. Fry the sausage pieces over a medium heat until browned on all sides, then remove from the pan. To the same pan, add a 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of olive oil, then 30 grams of finely diced onion, and saute that a little until softened, and then add a tablespoon of garlic. You can fry your sausage, onion, and garlic in an oven-safe skillet and use a skillet instead of a pie dish like I use later in the video. Anyway, set the sausage and onion aside for now separately, and next to a bowl, add a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, a 1/4 cup of ricotta, and it can be lumpy or smooth, 2 eggs lightly beaten, a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper, and then add the onion and garlic and mix that all together until combined. This is just the basics of a sausage frittata. You can adapt this recipe to however you want. Leave out the garlic or add paprika or your favorite fresh herbs. Add the custard to an oven-safe dish, add your sausage pieces on top and arrange it in a pretty manner. I'm just adding finely diced sun-dried tomatoes in between just for a red fleck and a bit of flavor. And then when you're ready, bake in the oven for about 20 minutes. For the topping, I've added about a 1/4 cup of shredded cheddar cheese, sprinkled it all around, and this is fresh oregano, but you can use fresh herbs of your choice, or you could just not add them at all. Again, a little bit of sun-dried tomatoes for more flavor, and back in the oven it goes just to grill the cheese in the oven, and voila! At this point, you could cut it up and freeze it. Mine is going in the fridge, so I'm serving mine with a little sour cream, and to be honest, I often skip breakfast, so I have this if I still feel hungry at night. Let's make the delicious stuffing first. So to a big bowl, add 1 cup of chopped spinach. Then I'm adding 2/3 cup of sun-dried tomatoes. Next, add 2/3 of a cup of crumbled feta cheese, 30 grams of shallots or green onion, whichever in the onion family you have on hand, use that. Next ingredient is 1 teaspoon of either garlic powder or garlic granules. If you're using fresh garlic, just add 1 clove. Next is 2 tablespoons of freshly chopped basil, 2 tablespoons of a keto approved breadcrumbs. I just used my Wonder Bread recipe, and the link for that recipe is in the top right corner of your screen now. I just finely diced it into sort of big breadcrumbs and found this really easy to make. Next is 1 tablespoon of fresh oregano chopped, and use dry if you need to, it's fine. 1 tablespoon of grated Parmesan cheese, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and finally 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Mix that until it's fully combined, and just look how beautiful this looks. Oh my goodness. And set that aside. This filling is so good, you could use it with chicken as we are today, or maybe salmon. You could even use it with some other kind of meat. Set the filling aside for now and set your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius, and grease and line a baking tray. For the chicken, I'm using 6 chicken breasts, and we are going to butterfly each one, and by that I mean slice it in the middle but not right to the end, like a book. Season it with salt, paprika, and garlic powder. Alternatively, you could add everything but the bagel seasoning and maybe just some paprika. Rub your seasoning in good and repeat that on the other side as well. Alright, have your chicken breast open like this. Then add a 1/2 cup of the stuffing on 1/2 of each chicken breast and spread it. I also placed 2 asparagus on top, and of course all of this is optional, but you can adapt this recipe to your liking. Close up the chicken breast like a book and secure it with some toothpicks, because as it bakes, it does tend to open up again during the baking process. Before we put it in the oven, we need to seal the chicken. So over a high heat, add a tablespoon of olive oil and sear each chicken breast on both sides by frying it for about 30 seconds on each side. It looks so good already, but hey, this chicken is not yet cooked. Place all the chicken back onto your baking dish, cover with foil, and bake for half an hour on the middle rack. This has just come out of the oven now. I'm going to let it cool, and then we're going to see what it looks like. Look at that, it's juicy, succulent, and perfectly cooked. This stuffed chicken can be made for your family and for yourself. It just depends on what you pair it up with. I personally just added a 1/4 avocado. I hope this was helpful and you are good on your diet next week. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and be well.